Hey everybody, it is Mike Weller from the Weller Group at Keller Williams Realty in Orange County. I am here with Adriana Kessley from the Weller Group, who works with me here in Southern California. Good afternoon, Adriana.
Hi, Mike.
And we are here. It's another edition of one of our California relocation seminars where we are talking to one of our expert partners in a market that tends to be popular for people here from California to be exploring for relocation. And today we're happy to have our friend Allison Blake from the Allison Blake Group at Keller Williams in Boise, Idaho. So hi, Allison, how are you?
How are you? Good. Thank you for
So yeah, I'm excited for this one. This is something we started doing here earlier this year, and I've been looking forward to the Idaho version of this because it's been a hugely popular place for people from our area the last, I would say, 4 or 5 years. And when and I'm from the East Coast, so I'm not native here of California or Southern California. And when I talk to my family or friends back in New York and tell them that people are going to Idaho in droves, like people on the East Coast like never think of Idaho. So like they don't get it at all. I sort of get it, but I'm glad that you're here to kind of explain it to everybody. So what is going on? Like, what are you seeing? Tell us about Boise and the area and what you're seeing. Where are people coming from? A little bit of your background. You were from California originally as well. Is that correct?
I'm not from California. I'm actually from England originally, but I've lived
Okay.
in California for a long, long time.
Sure.
And I moved up here 28 years ago, when it was very, very different. It was a tiny city, but now Boise has really grown into quite a metropolis. And we have, ballet and opera and great weather. We do have 4 seasons. One of the misconceptions with Boise, though, is that we get a lot of snow, and we don't really get a lot of snow in the city. It's very manageable. Probably have to get your shovel out 2 or 3 times a year. But we are in a desert climate, so it is very dry. It's 82 degrees here today, really nice breeze, very sunny skies. It's a very sunny climate. And so what we've seen recently, I'd say in the past 4 years, and then more recently this year during COVID, is a lot of people from out of state moving into our area. And we think that it's fueled mainly by people being able to telecommute, work from anywhere. So they're coming here, buying a home, and then working, say, in California or Arizona.
Yeah.
So the main places that we're seeing people come from are California, all over California, Sacramento and Orange County, and different parts of some from the Bay Area. Just to get a different lifestyle. The average age moving to Boise from out of state is 55 and over, which is not too surprising because they're heading into their retirement years, but they're also here to be with their grandchildren. So it's a very family-oriented place and a very family-oriented city. There's zoos and parks. We have a river that runs through the city. At any time you can go walking and feel safe. There's not really a whole lot of crime here. So it has a lot of advantages that different states have, but it's just quieter. It's just quieter and less traffic. And the places that people are coming from, other than California, are Oregon and Washington.
Okay.
Some from Arizona, and a few from the East Coast. Actually, 2 Michelin star restaurants just moved. 2 Michelin star chefs from Manhattan just moved out here and opened 2 restaurants here. So that's kind of nice.
How about that? Yeah.
Yeah. So we've got a lot of different things going on. We have an opera, a ballet. There's a lot of wealth in Boise. I don't know if you've ever heard of the Simplot family, but they've developed Boise. We have a whitewater park in the middle of the city, a lot of rafting, things like that. So there's a lot of money. Albertson started here, Morrison Knudsen started here. So we have a lot of people that are, pouring money into our city. for
Gotcha.
exodus.
A lot of investment, a lot of investment.
Right.
Well, you said especially the last year with COVID, people are moving there, and it's a good place to live and work remotely from. But I will tell you, like years, 3, 4 years ago, I mean, I was seeing a lot of people move from here to you then. So it's not just that. I know it's not just
Right,
that. So
right. We did see a little bit of a spike during COVID of people
yeah,
moving here.
I,
It's not just that, it's a different lifestyle. It's a more outdoor lifestyle, more accessibility to, recreation. It's a little bit cheaper cost of living, although we're catching up on that area. There's still a
yeah,
lot of farms here. You can buy, a freezer full of grass-fed cow and put it in your freezer, or you can get fresh vegetables at any time.
right.
So it's a more laid-back lifestyle.
I was curious about, people that aren't moving there and keeping their existing job and working from home. What's industry and jobs looking like out there for people?
One of the main employers here is medical. So we've got regional medical centers here, St. Al, St. Luke's, and the VA hospital. And those are located in downtown Boise. And they're one of the primary employers. And then Micron, Hewlett Packard has a branch here, a printer branch. A lot of tech startups, a lot of new companies moving in. We've heard recently that a lot of companies that are located in the San Francisco Bay Area may be moving here, just cheaper, commercial space
Sure.
and things like that. Amazon is also a really big employer here. They just made a huge, I can't even believe how big it is. It's a huge warehouse where they, distribute things from, a distribution warehouse, and they pay very well. And that has really spurred Nampa on,
Gotcha.
which is 20 miles down the road.
Okay. Okay. Yeah. Yeah. And we were talking before this offline a little bit, and you were saying that most people that come aren't necessarily moving into Boise proper, the city of Boise. They're more like in the outlying areas, and I know Eagle, Idaho, I hear about a lot, and Nampa, I hear about a lot, and I think you get a little bit more land and space in those areas than actually in Boise. I take it.
We do. In Eagle, what you're going to get is more gated communities, sort of a more a lot more waterfront property. There's some tributaries of the Boise River that run through Eagle, so you can get some waterfront properties. And the average price in Eagle is probably around $750. You do get a little bit more land. A lot of people come here, and I actually came here 28 years ago thinking that I was going to get 5 acres of land and this great farmhouse. And those types of properties are not so plentiful, especially now, because a lot of it has been developed.
Yeah.
But you can still buy acreage out in Nampa, and it's probably in the $700,000 range for over 5 acres.
Okay. Yeah, you certainly can't find that in Orange County, LA, Southern California in general. So no,
Yeah.
you definitely can't.
I was just going to mention one thing too, that one strength of our economy is that 70% of our business is in state. So people moving from other parts of the state to our area, to either Ada or Canyon County, and only 30% is moving in from out of state.
Gotcha.
So
Okay.
that really keeps our economy going really well.
So I have a couple of more kind of cost of living type of questions. So I think I just paid $3.99 or something like that for gas the other day, earlier this week. What are you filling up your tank for these
Well,
days?
I've just filled up my tank for $3.40, and that was in downtown Boise. I wasn't shopping. I just was out of gas and stopped and got $3.40.
Gotcha. Okay.
So I think we're ranging from about $3.19 probably at Costco
Mhm.
to about $3.50 a gallon.
Okay.
And that is a little bit of an increase. A couple
Yeah.
months ago, it was $2.99. So.
Okay. Income tax rate. I know Idaho's not a no tax state, but it's one of the states that's lower than California. I mean, just about every state's lower than California on the state income tax.
Uh-huh.
But what is the rate there, the state income tax rate?
It's about 6%.
Okay,
And
gotcha.
our sales tax is 6.5%.
Okay. So both of those kind of in the 6% range, income tax and sales tax as well. Okay. All right. Well, so let's talk real estate and properties a little bit. You touched on it a little bit earlier, but what entry level? So somebody's moving there. What does the entry level market look like as far as price point, and what size house is that? What's the age of that house? What would that look like?
In Boise, the entry level is about 350. And
Yep.
I'd say the average house would be 11 to 20 years old
Mhm.
on 0.2 of an acre or
Okay.
point, the newer homes in Nampa, the entry level is about 300,000. And that will get you a regular house. I just sold her a house in Nampa. We listed at 325 and we got 350. So there are some bidding wars. So I would say in Boise, though, you're looking at probably 350 to 400 for an entry level home right now.
Okay.
3-bedroom, 2-bath.
Okay. So somebody sells their home in California and they're coming into town with about 500,000. What does that look like? What does that get them?
That will get you a 3-bedroom, 2-bath house in Boise, probably a little bit newer, 6 to 10 years old. We have a lot. Boise is a very old city, so we have a lot of very, very old homes. Like we have 2 historic districts within our city. Those are all above 550 right now. But in some of the subdivisions outside of the downtown area, I'd say within 5 minutes of downtown, you can get a very nice home, 3-bedroom, 2-bath that's been updated in the $500,000 range.
Okay. Okay. And then what kind of lot is that on then? It's a suburban kind of setting, I guess. And how large of a lot would that be?
Yeah, I would say 0.2 of an acre. So
Okay.
not too bad. And a lot of the communities have got community pools and tennis courts. The HOAs, the average HOA is I'd say about 150 a month.
Okay.
Here. A lot of them are on yearly HOAs, which will be about 400 a year.
Okay.
And they're not quite as strict.
Gotcha. They're just providing a couple of basic services, maybe like a little community park or something like that.
Right. Keeping up the community park, keeping up the pool and things like that.
Okay. Okay. And for those watching from home, 0.2 acres, you're talking about 8,000-ish square feet.
Mm-hmm.
So decent size lot. So, okay. So somebody sells their home in Southern California and they're coming up there with about 700 or 750. What does that look like?
Well, that's going to get you a different house. In Boise, that's going to get you a much larger home. I'd say over 2,500 square feet, somewhere close to downtown Boise in the foothills, for example.
Mm-hmm.
Possibly with a little bit of a view. In Nampa, it would get you some good acreage, 2 to 3 acres of land with either an older home or a more updated home. In Eagle, you would have to go into the 800,000 to 900,000 range, and you would get a pretty spectacular home, probably on some water.
So that's like a luxury home there.
A luxury home.
And that's a newer
community, 6 to 20 years old, very nicely kept up, things like that. And those HOAs are going to be a little bit more.
Gotcha. Okay.
350 range per month.
Okay. So what you're describing there sounds like probably a $2 million equivalent, give or take, down here in our area. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Most definitely.
Okay. What kind of breakdown are you seeing as far as new construction, people building or buying brand new construction versus resale? And it sounds like most of your resales really, 20 years or newer for the most part. Certainly, like you said, you have the historic districts, and I'm sure there are some exceptions to that. But
right. Yeah. A lot of people are buying newer homes. We've got a real slowdown in the building right now. I mean, Toll Brothers has come into our area. They're a year and a half out. I just sold 3 homes in January for Toll Brothers, and they won't be ready until next March.
Yeah.
I think their average price was $450 in January, and now it's somewhere around $575.
That's crazy in less than 6 months. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And our average price in Boise right now for a home is $520.
Yeah.
In Nampa, it's about $410.
Okay. Okay. My favorite question always is, then what does $1 million look like? What is $1 million getting you there? Because that's like our average. It's about our average single family home price, and depending on where in Orange County, what you're looking at, but kind of looking at our average price is around $1 million. So the average homeowner here sells their home, takes all their equity, goes there with $1 million. Tell us about that.
So I think it's going to be equivalent to about $2.5 million home in Orange County.
Yeah.
I looked in Palo Alto this weekend, and it'd be equivalent to about $4 million home in Palo Alto. So it's going to get you a little bit larger lot, probably 0.3, almost a third of an acre, or some waterfront property, mainly 2 stories. A lot of them are 2 stories.
Yeah.
Very nicely finished, with all the custom woodwork and millwork done. There are some new homes that are being built in that price range. And I've been pretty impressed with the way that they are outfitting those. And usually the master will be on the main, which I'm really a fan of, because for some reason we were building all the masters upstairs for a while. So we're getting to have masters on the main now.
Yeah, that's the trend that I've been seeing the last few years is, even 2-story home, they're always building, not always the master, but they're always building a single story or a entry story bedroom and suite, and often the master. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. So I really like that,
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
in the historic area, a $1 million home would be in the historic area, walking distance to the downtown area, perhaps a big Victorian that's been all redone, and with modern amenities, granite kitchen and all of that. So
yeah,
smaller lot. They're about city lots, so it'll be smaller lots. Walking distance to school, walking distance to the parks, things like that.
Okay. The newer construction that's outside Boise, out in Nampa or Eagle, or out in the outlying areas, just question about things like water and sewer. Like, are those septic type situations?
All of the newer homes are going to be on septic now.
Yeah.
And they're going to have gas. When I moved here, gas was not a thing here in Boise, but now we are incorporating gas for gas stoves.
Okay.
But yes, there are some areas in Boise and in Nampa especially that are all electric still. But yes, they'll all be on sewer. I don't know of any newer homes that are being built on septic unless they're custom on acreage.
Gotcha. And city water hookups too, then, it sounds like?
City water hookups.
No wells to deal with or anything?
There's very few wells in Boise. They're very coveted because our average water bill during the summer is about $120 a month. So if you have a well, it's free. There's a lot of irrigation property in Boise. So a lot of homes in the entry level, say in the $400,000 to $500,000 range, are going to be on irrigation, which means it's flood irrigation and it's free water, and it once a week floods your whole yard. It's something you've seen. It's an old-fashioned way of irrigating. And that is free. And we do have some of that left in the city. But since we're in a desert, they do control that.
Yeah.
So.
Interesting. So a little different. That's something that's a little bit different than here, but it's sure you adjust to and get
It's
used
really
to
a sight to see because it fills
Yeah.
the yard up with about that much water. So, and then it soaks in over the week.
Yeah. Hopefully you're
But
sloped away from the foundation and the house and everything.
exactly, that's a must.
Yeah.
So, yes.
Okay. So something I run into often is I'll be talking to somebody here and they're talking about moving out of state, whether it's to Idaho or one of the other handful of destinations that seem to be on people's minds. And often say it's a couple and a family, often one spouse is like ready to go, like they have their bags packed and everything. And sometimes the other spouse is a little bit more hesitant because they're hesitant to leave family or, family and friends. We were talking a little bit before offline, and you made the comment about how with the way where Boise's located and with the airport and the service they have out of there, how convenient it is for California, really. You want to
It
talk
really
about that a little bit, because I think that's something that people don't think about really.
Right. You think you're going to be stuck here, but you're really not. There's 2 to 3, flights a day to the Bay Area. There's less to the Bay Area than there is to Orange County and the LA area.
Mhm.
And there's 4 or 5 flights daily to those areas. And the plane tickets really to Orange County, I think they're averaging about $200 round trip. And to the Bay Area, it's around $250 round trip.
Right.
And so you really can pick and choose. And then we have great connections for international flights. I tend to fly quite a bit. One of my sons lives in Puerto Rico. You can get from Boise to Puerto Rico. And it's not very expensive. Our flights are not very expensive. I just looked up flights to Hawaii and they're $300 round trip, straight from Boise.
Wow.
Yeah.
Almost worth driving up there to fly to
Oh,
Hawaii.
I know.
Or flying there to fly to Hawaii.
Right.
Probably, yeah.
So we've got a lot of options. It's a 10-hour drive to the Bay Area, and I don't know what it would be to LA, probably 18 hours. But a lot of people do make the drive when they initially come here.
Yeah.
But we've got Southwest, JetBlue, all of the major airlines, Alaska Air.
Yeah. But when you factor in, the cost of living savings, the more house you're getting for the same amount of money and the lower taxes and everything, you can, once a month do a inexpensive flight back, and a lot of room for that. So
there really is. Food's not very expensive here. I would say it's a little bit cheaper than California. Taxes, and certainly the housing is a lot cheaper.
Yeah.
And the lifestyle. There's just no traffic jams and not a lot of traffic.
What does the winter look like up there? I know you said you don't get a lot of snow, but it is a fall season. So, obviously your temperatures are going to be lower than what we're used to here in Southern California, but talk about that.
I would say that an average day here in the winter, in January and February, are our coldest months.
Yeah.
And I would say it's about 35 degrees. Now you've got to factor in that it's a very dry climate, so it doesn't feel as cold.
And that's what I was getting to. And it's sunny. Right. The sun is out most of the time, right?
The sun is out a lot.
Night. Yeah, that's like I said before, like I'm from the East Coast and the Northeast. And if you're from England originally, like the sun versus no sun makes a huge difference there.
It really does. Really does. I grew up in Vermont, actually. So. Okay. Yeah. Yeah. So I'm familiar. Yes. So it's nothing like the winters on the East Coast.
Yeah.
I probably use my snow shovel 3 or 4 times a year. We probably get about 4 inches on the ground in the city of Boise. We've had 2 really big snowstorms in 28 years since I've lived here. Where it sort of crippled the city for a couple of days. And we did get 3 feet of snow. But the nice thing about Boise is you could drive 20 minutes to the snow, spend the day skiing or snowboarding or doing whatever, and then come home.
And then you're out of it.
You're out of it.
Yeah.
And on really cloudy days, January tends to be a little bit cloudy, but you can go to the ski resort and see the full sun. So the sun is always here. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's very nice.
Like
The one
this.
thing we don't have obviously is the ocean, but we do have a lot of rivers and people come from all over the world to raft these rivers. So,
Yeah, I think one of my clients who moved out there a couple of years ago, one of their first purchases were a pair of jet skis. So,
yes,
yeah.
yeah. We have a couple of reservoirs, and then we have many. Hell's Canyon is here, which is a 3-day rafting trip, and people come from all over. I actually own an Airbnb, so that's one of the in downtown Boise, and one of the main things in the summer is people are coming to raft or to hike or to do things like that. And we have hiking right within the city. It's got ridge to rivers trails and things like that. So
Yeah, a lot of good recreation there.
it's a lot of good recreation, and a lot of people build it into their day.
Yeah.
So you can just walk on the river or
Right.
do a lot of different things.
So
it's not as backwoods as people think.
no, yeah, I mean, I don't think of it as backwoods. I don't know that. I mean, I can't speak for everybody on what they think, but I don't think most people think of it as backwoods. I think people think of it as, when I think of Idaho, I think a lot of people are thinking more space, fresh air,
Yeah.
but good quality of life, a little bit of a slower pace.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
And we've got a good education system here, and a lot of neighborhood schools. So a lot of the schools are 300 to 400 kids a school.
gotcha.
Not a lot about overcrowding since they're per neighborhood.
Okay, there you go. So good schools in the Boise area.
Yeah.
Great. So, okay, well, I think we covered a whole bunch of ground here, Allison. Is there anything we left out, or anything we should have asked you that we haven't? Anything else you want to tell us or share with us?
I think there's a preconception that people here don't like Californians. So
Yes, I have heard that.
yes.
Yes, I have heard that.
So most of the people I know started in California and moved here.
Yeah.
So that is really waning. There is some anger about from a small segment of population. I'd say 1% of our population is very angry that people are moving in because they're blaming people for raising the prices. But the prices have raised all over the country, so we're not an anomaly at all.
Right. Yeah, it's just prices are going up, values are going up. We're seeing inflation. It's just that's just what's happening everywhere. Yeah.
Yeah, it's just happened everywhere.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of opportunity for a lot of young people. And what we found is a lot of young people are coming in and buying a duplex and living in one and renting out the other.
Oh, talk about that a little bit more, because that's something that people in California, I get people talking about that or asking about that a lot. And here in our area, not that it's not doable, but honestly, most of those types of properties are not in great areas and great neighborhoods. And even when you factor all of that in, like what the property costs and what you're getting in rent, like it doesn't make as much sense as I think maybe what you might be able to share here. So what does that look like when
So I just sold one today that was 2 houses on 1 lot.
Mm-hmm.
It's just outside of the very, very desirable area in Boise, but about a 10-minute drive to downtown. And so you're getting 2 1920 cottages on 1 lot, and they do need a little bit of attention. And it was $500,000. Wow. They're going to be getting $1,500 per unit. And so they're going to live in 1 unit, get $1,500. Their mortgage, I believe, on a FHA loan, he was telling me was going to be $2,800. So it is going to cover some of the rent. What's happening in Boise, which is kind of interesting, is that our city is increasing the likelihood that with those type of houses, you can actually split them. So we're increasing the density here rather than increasing density here.
Okay.
So in the future, he'll be able to split them and then, sell them for $350 each or entry level homes. So.
Right. Yeah, once you subdivide that lot with 2 separate properties, the value goes up a little bit there.
So
it doesn't double, but it goes up. So,
I've sold many duplexes to young people from out of state that are, and basically it's just covering half their rent or more,
Sure.
or half their mortgage and more. And
Yeah.
then those are desirable properties because, as in other states, we're not overwhelmed with duplexes and fourplexes. They seem
Right.
to be in established neighborhoods, so they're in good areas.
Mhm.
And so if somebody can't afford a single family in the North End, which is our historic district at 800,000, they can buy a duplex for 600,000 and, get their rent subsidized, and then eventually keep that as residential income property and move on.
That's a great
Something
plan.
else.
That's a great plan. And those
Yeah.
are all within Boise, I'm assuming? They're not out in the outlying areas.
No, there's very few in Eagle, but there are some in, quite a few in Nampa. I sold about 4 or 5 of them this year in Nampa, and the triplexes were running about $350. So
Interesting.
yeah, so you can do quite well. I sold 2 to one of my clients, and he's cash flowing $1,000 a month with
Okay.
putting down the minimum of
Yeah.
25%.
And
So-
those are, what's the age of those? Like the ones in
The
Nampa?
ones in Napa tend to be older,
Okay.
tend to be in the 1940s to 1950 era.
Yeah.
But again, they're in a more desirable area because they're close to Nampa downtown, or they're,
Right.
close to, getting into Boise. So I think it's a really good plan for people that don't quite want to spend the $3,000 on a $500,000 mortgage.
Yeah. Yeah. No, it's a great option for people to get into the housing market and to get into real estate and own something. So
It is. And with the increased prices that we've seen in Boise, with our prices going up, we're seeing less investors coming in and buying those duplexes and more
Right.
homeowners.
Gotcha. Okay. Well, that's great information. I'm sure people will be excited about that. Anything else? I think we've covered everything. I've checked all the boxes that I wanted to make sure we talked about, and we definitely appreciate you coming on here, sharing this great information. If anybody wants to get in touch with Allison, just reach out to us and we will connect you. Anything else? Any last words, parting words, Allison?
No, I think it's a great match for people from California. We're like California was 25 years ago. And so hopefully it'll stay like that, but we're not sure. But, we have a great downtown. I think that if people want to come here and visit here and spend a week here, they'll be pleasantly surprised.
Okay. Well, there you have it. Buy your ticket. They're inexpensive. Head up to Boise.
Yes.
Spend 3 or 4 days. Check it out. Give us a call. We'll link you up with Allison and get a tour and go from there. Next thing you know, you'll be moving there. So
Exactly. All right. Well, thank you.
All right. Well, thanks, Allison. Thanks so much. Thanks, everybody. Thanks for joining us today. Reach out to us with your questions. We're happy to answer any local Orange County, Southern California real estate questions, and then introduce you to our great partners like Allison here. So take care, everybody. We'll see you next time.
All right. Thank you.
All right. Bye.